Hey everybody, good Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. What's next for you? Visit cnext.bank for more. Happy Tuesday. I already said that. Hopefully you're having a good day. I keep thinking it's Wednesday. It's not. It's Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. At least last I checked. Nephew Cooper's on YouTube. What's up, dude? See you this weekend. Heading up to Central Arkansas to see the Arkansas family for Christmas festivities. We always do that right around Christmas, but always never really did it before, or always did it before, but never have been able to iron down Christmas Day specifically. Christmas is a 2 or 3 week celebration in our family just because we have family scattered close but not immediately in our area. Look at the visible satellite. High clouds have started to move back in. The radar made possible by Brown's Roofing, and you can visit brownsroofingla.com to schedule your free roof inspection. Still no rainfall, and the rain chances are actually trending down as we go into Wednesday and Thursday, but they are existent in the forecast. Pesky low rain chances as the clouds continue to increase across the region. Speaking of the region, it's 57 in Shreveport, 54 in Little Rock and Jackson, 59 in Baton Rouge. Most of us are in the upper 40s to low 50s, just depends on location. 50 in Monroe and Bastrop, 48 in Greenville, 52 in El Dorado, 55 in Natchez. Most of us on our way at least into the mid to upper 50s today. May have to tweak daytime highs in Natchez because they are warming a little bit faster than everybody else, but most of us should at least climb a few more degrees as we go through the rest of the afternoon. Really, the warming trend is all on the back of southerly winds, so it just depends on location as to really who warms up the most. I think the southern parishes and counties have the best chance, obviously, but the dew points are climbing. They were in the single digits and teens, now 20s and 30s for the most part, and the low-level moisture continues to stream in, sets the stage for some shower chances tomorrow, but that's a lot of dry air in place. Cold air, Arctic air is dry air, and so when it moves into place, everybody's crossing their fingers for snow and all this stuff, but again, that's probably the most important thing for everybody to remember during the wintertime is cold air is dry air, so you have to overcome a lot of dry air at the surface to really get moisture down to ground level. And as we work the moisture back in, usually we pull in a lot of warmer air along with it, so we climb back above freezing pretty commonly. Wind speeds are back out of the south, 5 to 10 miles an hour, again leading the warming trend that we will continue to enjoy through the rest of the day. Futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports, I-20 frontage road in Monroe. As I mentioned, stock becoming limited on some of the youth ATVs and dirt bikes, so go by and see Mike and the gang today. Shopping days are dwindling quickly, and I think the Floyd family is almost done. According to my wife, we're pretty much done, and she's the general in charge of that. She's the general in charge of everything. Who am I kidding? Winds are out of the south. Again, clouds increase tonight. The opportunity will exist for some spotty showers. I've kept the rain chances generally in about the 20 to maybe 30% range across the region, with the best chances being across southern Arkansas. And again, the rain totals should be fairly light. And as I mentioned, there may be the opportunity for us to see some rain on radar, but may not get it down to ground level just because air's pretty dry at the surface, and it's going to take a while for that low-level moisture to really stream back into a point where we could get rain down to ground level. Those rain chances stay pesky and isolated through the day tomorrow. Again, I've kept them fairly conservative, and if we do see rain, most of it should be fairly light. Then there should be a gap tomorrow afternoon before we bring a cold front through morning to early afternoon, depending on location on Thursday. It'll be right after sunrise across southern Arkansas, or at least in our northwestern counties in southern Arkansas and Ouachita, Columbia, Union counties. And then as it moves deeper through our area, late morning, Monroe, West Monroe, some of the surrounding areas, and in the Mississippi Valley, it may be early afternoon before the front can advance all the way through your area. Skies should clear very quickly. High pressure moves back in, and it actually brings a nice little dip temperature-wise as we head through the daytime hours on Friday. But then the warm air is back in relatively quickly on the back of southerly winds. In fact, very quickly. Morning low on Saturday will be close to 40, but we will end the day close to 70. And that's obviously, if you can do math, a 30-degree climb. 30-degree climbs usually are indicative of strong southerly winds, a very dry atmosphere, a lot of sunshine, or a combination of all of those. And it'll be some strong southerly winds. And at least some sunshine the clouds will roll in pretty quick as we go into the day on Saturday. most of those should thin out to some degree through the afternoon. Check the water vapor imagery, and you can kind of see this weak disturbance that's kind of rallied its way out of the Four Corners region, is making its way through the Texas and Oklahoma Panhandle. It's a big, large, sluggish trough of low pressure, and that upper disturbance will be responsible for what kind of trudges through our area tomorrow. And again, it's this trough of low pressure that winds all the way back through the Rio Grande Valley. So as you put it into motion and you see the mid-level moisture increases, again, there's a lot of questions as to how much moisture we can get down to the surface. The air should be pretty dry at ground level. But this trough, just in what we call the trough axis, it's really just kind of an elongated disturbance that's just going to kind of, like I said, trudge through the region until it gets kind of pushed out of the area by the Thursday cold front that'll move through during the late morning and early afternoon hours. That upper disturbance a little bit stronger, and as the upper low across the upper Midwest kind of trudges and swings through, expect the cold front to move through rather rapidly. Again, it's part of a much more active part of the upper level pattern. And that upper low has some stronger winds associated with it, so it's a relatively quick mover through the central United States. Then it sweeps through the Great Lakes region. But behind it, the upper level pattern is cooler and drier for Friday. We bring that cooler, drier area in the very, very short term. The weekend shapes up on what we call a relatively zonal flow aloft, everything just kind of passing from west to east, which usually means a steady warming trend. And then the ridge of high pressure builds out to the west, and that's what probably steers us into above average temperatures as we go into the daytime hours on Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's the days leading up to Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Wednesday is Christmas Eve. So you can see that big ridge of high pressure, that big dome of warm air, really establishing itself as we go into the early to middle parts of next week. So that's why the trends continue to point toward above average temperatures in the 6 to 10 day outlook and above average temperatures in the 8 to 14 day outlook. Big, large ridge of high pressure, just trudging eastward early parts of next week. Now, the plus side to that is it keeps things warm, and it looks as though it keeps things pretty quiet for the second half of the month. The downside to it is if you're looking for a winter feel to Christmas Day, you're not going to get it. We may be wearing shorts on Christmas. You may be able to get a tea time on Christmas Eve. I don't know. It's going to be very warm. Warmer than normal. Again, average high should be in the 50s, upper 50s. Overnight lows generally should be in the mid to upper 30s. We're not going to be there for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We're going to be warmer than that. And it looks like we round out the month on that same note. Now, you continue to tempt fate as you trend above average for that long of a period of time that eventually some big storm system can get enough strength to sweep through the region and bring a severe weather threat. But we've been talking about the law of averages regarding that potential really since October. Haven't seen anything yet. Again, the La Nina pattern remains staunch, and it looks like it'll hang on through the rest of the year, maybe into the first several weeks of the new year. And what I mean by that, if you don't pay attention to El Nino and La Nina patterns, and I wouldn't expect most of you do, and I don't blame you, it's kind of boring stuff, but the La Nina pattern that we've been in usually trends our area above average temperature-wise and below average precipitation-wise. And that is exactly what's checked out for the last couple of months. Really, since the Digital Weather Desk launched back in September, we've had some pretty quiet conditions, which is good news because it's given me an opportunity to kind of figure out what doesn't work, what does work, what needs to be worked on, and to make small little tweaks along the way. As I mentioned, none of this should ever be considered permanent. There's always things changing, but it's just kind of let me figure out what the heck we're doing. Mid-50s for highs today. Upper 50s are not out of the question. I have a weird, sneaky suspicion somebody may hit 60 this afternoon. All depends on those southerly winds, and it also depends on the cloud cover. The clouds start to increase, especially as we kind of move lower in the atmosphere. If we get some mid-level clouds, that may kind of slow the rate of warming. Overnight lows tonight, mid-40s. A lot of us will hit the mid-40s around midnight and then see a slow climb through the morning hours tomorrow. So if you're looking at 44 degrees tomorrow at 6 or 7 a.m., we'll probably be at 47, 48 by then. Winds will be out of the south. Rain chances are pesky. I've kept them or trimmed them back down to 20%. They are up to 30% across southern Arkansas tonight and tomorrow. Again, your area's specific rainfall chances and temperatures can be found on the Digital Weather Desk app and at digitalweatherdesk.com. Again, those are tied to your specific location. Again, spotty rain chances at best for Wednesday. Scattered stuff for Thursday, maybe even a thunderstorm. Can't rule that out. Cooler for Friday, sharply warmer for Saturday, and we stay above average as we wrap up the weekend and go into the early parts of next week. Again, generally speaking, it is a temperature seesaw for the next couple of days and then trending warm and dry for most of Christmas week. That's how things shape up for right now. So again, if you have travel plans, especially in our immediate area, I don't really see anything significant or alarming in regards to the Christmas forecast. And that's how things shake out on this midday, Tuesday, December 16th. I'll join you a little bit later this afternoon. It may be a smidge later than normal. I mentioned that this morning. Santa's coming to visit. So we got to go hang out with the big jolly guy, tell him, hey, got some explaining to do. But aside from that, I'll join you a little bit later today, fishing game later tonight, and we'll just continue to keep an eye on the rain chances as we approach the middle parts of this week. Again, forecast is always available online and on the app. I just updated all the numbers there. Thank you, Susie. Glad that you're hearing that. Glad to hear that you're enjoying the app. And like I said, all those numbers just refreshed, depending on your location, anywhere from about 10 to 15 minutes ago. Barbara, thank you so much for your kind words. Appreciate everyone taking time out of their day to keep up to date with the forecast. Again, it's pretty quiet. It's been that way for a while now. No big severe weather threats, no big shots of cold air other than the one that we're kind of climbing out of right now. Thanks so much for making this part of your day, and if I don't say it enough, so glad you're here, and thanks so much for visiting the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.